The carbon tax is costing Canadian truckers big time and making your life more expensive. Yeah, Ottawa's carbon tax over here costing Canadian truckers about $2 billion this year alone. That's from the Canadian Trucking Alliance. And it gets even worse as Trudeau continues to crank up his favorite tax. So by 2030, the carbon tax will be costing our Canadian truckers about $4 billion annually. Okay, so over the 12 years that carbon tax will be in place by 2030, you're looking at a $26 billion hit to Canadian truckers. And the Canadian Trucker Alliance, they're warning that when you make life more expensive for truckers to do their job, you're making it more expensive for all Canadians to actually buy the goods that truckers deliver, right? Because virtually all goods that you're buying from the store got to that store because of trucking. So you make it more expensive for Canadian truckers to do your job, you're making it more expensive to live here in Canada. Let me take you through another concrete example. Let's just look about grocery prices, okay? So number one, you've got the government adding billions of dollars in costs on the Canadian truckers who deliver food to the store, but also the Canadian government makes farmers pay the carbon tax on the natural gas and propane that they use to heat their barns and dry their grain, okay? So the carbon tax on natural gas and propane used on Canadian farms will cost Canadian farmers $1 billion by 2030. So you're looking at billions of dollars in cost for Canadian truckers and $1 billion in cost to Canadian farmers by 2030. And guess what? When the government's, Ottawa's carbon tax makes it more expensive for farmers to grow the food and makes it more expensive for truckers to deliver the food, the government is making it more expensive with its carbon tax for you to buy the food. And before I hear people screech about, oh, the rebates, well, guess what? Not only do they tax the fuel, they tax those taxes. And the carbon tax on tax alone will cost Canadians like you $600 million this year and more than $1 billion annually by 2030. And none of that tax on tax is rebated back to you. So again, folks, new data from the Canadian Truckers Alliance, the carbon tax costing truckers in Canada about $2 billion this year alone. Head over to taxpayer.com, sign the petition, scrap the carbon tax.